Today we will talk about XRP and its involvement in the derivatives market, and even tie that into some aspects of real-world asset tokenization, with one example of that being hard assets and gold, and how it can tie into the larger conversation around derivatives. So a lot of things have come out about the CME group and the CF benchmarks around an XRP index, who have some pretty interesting common ties in with Ripple and XRP. And just as a reminder, the derivatives market is currently worth about $1.2 quadrillion. And if XRP had a market cap of 1.2 quadrillion, that would put it right at $21,500. If you are interested in blockchain and really want to make money, then you should be looking into
this. If you're interested in blockchain and you want to make money, forget about sending money back to your uncle in France. This is where you should be thinking. This is the size of the entire economy of the world right here, GDP. This is the notional principle of all derivatives. Okay? These are all forwards, futures, and options. And these are all derivatives except interest rate swaps. This right here, interest rate swaps. Biggest universe that most of you have never heard of. Millions of lawyers, millions of traders, millions of accounts. All that can be put on the blockchain. Okay? And all this clearing system, settlement system, which we took, Dodd-Frank is like this thick. This much of it has to do with clearing and settling of swaps. Okay? It's a nightmare. It's a mess. And we can take this whole system and simplify it with distributed ledgers.
Ripple is deeply connected into the ISDA. The individual here, which I will not try to pronounce his name, has been involved in the ISDA for over 5 years before coming on to Ripple as a policy director. The ISDA explains that the legality for digital derivatives is only a base. You've got involvement with JPM, and they're involved in an XRP fund.
Bill had said that too. He said earlier that some of that framework is being built now, right? The data, the digitized legal data, that information is going to be the footprint, or we should call it build houses, but the framework, the bottom of the house, to get us up to that standard.
An LVI is a reference code used across markets and jurisdictions to uniquely identify a legally distinct entity that engages in a financial transaction. And it also calls back into the Kendra Hill topic, which probably goes all of the way back to about 2018. The true intentions of Ripple are to handle 100% of the transactions which take place in the derivatives market. So why do they not make this publicly available? They are missing a piece to the puzzle, and that piece is called Codius, which I will expand upon after I have some more information on it. But we also have to consider that the account that is currently calling themselves Kendra Hill is all about HBAR at the moment. So why XRP being added to CME Group's derivatives real-time reference is important? Derivatives market is the end game.
The derivatives market is safer and more transparent than ever before. But the infrastructure that supports it is complex, disjointed, and costly to maintain. Managing basic processes throughout the life of a trade is manually intensive. Each firm has developed its own way of describing common events, like trade termination, compression, or the exercise of an option. This increases the potential for inconsistencies between firms. Constantly correcting this is a big drain on resources and is not sustainable. Fortunately, new technologies such as distributed ledger and smart contracts offer the potential for greater automation and efficiency, reducing complexity and costs. But effective automation can only be built on standardization. If each technology uses its own set of representations for trade events, then we'll simply recreate the existing disjointed infrastructure. To realize the full potential of these technologies, we need a common representation of trade events That's where the ISDA common domain model comes in. ISDA's aim is to create a comprehensive standard digital blueprint for how derivatives are traded and managed right across the life cycle of a trade. The ISDA CDN will enhance consistency across firms and platforms, providing a bedrock of standards upon which new technologies can be applied. The derivatives market is on the cusp of a technology revolution. The ISDA CDN will help realize that potential.
And I don't think that I've explicitly called it out, but the ISDA and Ripple are actually partners. And the ISDA has a new platform called the Common Domain Model, which is designed to support DLT. And the ISDA is currently leading the way in establishing a common domain model in derivatives. Got a little bit more on that here. ISDA and DLT, and it also talks about ISO 222, which fits in with XRP. And here's a bit more on that, where the ISDA is explaining more on the common domain model and say that they believe standards like this will be the key enabler to develop next generation post-trade derivatives infrastructure. Today, clients experience inefficiencies ranging from delays in reconciliation of critical data across multiple parties, repeated instances of the same record within and across market participants, and a continual need to fix breaks in reconciliation. Greater standardization of data and processing will help exchanges, clearinghouses, clients, and the market as a whole to process data more efficiently. Here is a little bit more on the actual tech. So the CDM goes on top of DLT, and it's interesting because it includes the topic that I just talked about, which is digital token identifiers and ISO 222. CDM uses an integrated infrastructure which allows DLT recorded information to be retrieved in ISO 222, reporting with the help of VTI to help identify digital asset derivatives. And all of this is not only hyping up and leading up to institutional adoption, but also to enterprise adoption.
You have no idea how early we really are to Ripple and XRP.
Enterprise adoption that paves the way for retail adoption is, I think, what looks like what's going to happen, at least based on the past 2 years. So I think the new 10-year vision is enterprise products like stablecoins, like real-world asset tokenization, commercial lending and real estate lending, but that enable DeFi ecosystems that have things like ways to get yield, ways to manage your money, ways to hold the assets that you want to hold. Today, internet culture and popular culture are the same thing. Right? There is no distinction between internet culture and popular culture. We're starting to see that happen with blockchain right now.
And to elaborate a bit more on the institutional adoption, here are some comments about how that is being integrated.
So Matthias, from your perspective, how is it looking like for the traditional financial systems to be able to build this new infrastructure and integrate it well with the traditional setups?
Question addressed to me plays as well there. On the side of the banks, as we are quite fortunate, as many of the this is very notable because what that means is most banks in Switzerland, with the exception of one that I know, actually set it up like securities. So when you have cryptocurrency in a core banking system, it's set up like a security. And that means that from a processes perspective, the hurdle for the bank to integrate into the digital asset space is a lot of the work has already been done. And then, as I mentioned also, it's very crucial how you deal with the cash leg of a transaction.
And if you caught that up here, that is about the tokenization of digital assets.